welcome to episode 25 of the Opinioneers.
25.
Yes, it really is that long. Good afternoon to everybody who's listening, if anybody is listening and not going out to buy ice creams. Today we're talking about the paradoxes of creativity, and we both have slightly different ideas about paradoxes, but they all come down to the same thing, that in that there's things that you must do and mustn't do, and they could also almost be the same thing. I guess what we're saying is that there's a lot of ambiguity, and you need to be able to unravel it. I think that's what we're saying. But
well, I'll start off by giving you.
Off.
I think I'll give you, because as you said, Derek, I think we've got slightly different takes on this, and I love the fact that we've got slightly different takes. I think having slightly different takes is important. For me, creativity is what gets a business off the ground, but it's the operational rigor is what it allows it to scale. Most business leaders think that the ceiling is a lack of creative strategy or market opportunity. But in reality, I think every business is generating more creative value than they can actually use. Most of it, however, leaks out of the business because of systematic chaos or unaligned processes, or just a lack of owned processes and things like that. So for me, the goal isn't to suppress creativity; it's to funnel that into an operating system that caches the value and then creates productivity from it. And I think your take is slightly different. I think yours is less about the focusing and the turning that into operational rigor and creative products. It's more about what does the creativity itself do within the business.
Yeah, it's more about the process of creating ideas and capturing them and storing them than the rest of the business that goes around it. But it just goes to show that there's ambiguity everywhere.
Well,
if you don't get a handle on it, then there's two. Well, and first of all, I should say that if anybody is listening, that if they want to go and have a look at these, my ideas they're not mine. They came from a guy called Michael Michalko, who's famous for a book called Thinkertoys, which you can look up on the internet. But he came up with what he called 8 paradoxes of creativity. And the two I really like are sort of linked. One is be able to have knowledge but forget the knowledge, which means that you to enter into this, you need to know something. But you need to sort of push it to the back of your mind, otherwise you start using it to judge things, which starts closing off options and things. But that links to the last one, which is listen to experts, because that's where we don't know everything. That's where we get out our knowledge and ideas and opinions from, but know how to disregard them. And those two are linked. I mean, when you juggle the knowledge, you've got to know what to do with it, when it's appropriate, when it's not appropriate. Otherwise, you're just probably going to turn into a busy fool, I guess.
Yeah, indeed. And I think for me, therefore, the linking point between those are the paradox of the sort of idea generation versus the idea execution, because you're talking about the fact that you need to know enough to sort of disregard the ones that aren't great, but at the same time you need to know enough to be able to say, I may have got a great idea here, but actually it's never one that we can actually put into practice. The brilliant idea that you could spend a lot of time, a lot of effort trying to actually sort of implement, but it will not actually produce the business value you want. You've got to be able to sort of deliberately put that one away and say, right, that's one for another day or one for another company, but it's not for us for now. So the ability to actually separate those out, to be able to say now is a good idea and now is the time for it, is critical to this, because so many people sort of have brilliant ideas, spin their wheels trying to do it, or have brilliant ideas but reinvent the wheel and it doesn't apply, is the time waster and the leak value, the value leakage point that I was talking about at the beginning.
The thing that was just flitting through my mind, as some things actually do from time to time, is in what way? I don't actually see that as a paradox, but I can understand that some people will, because and be you know I think I have opposing thoughts on opposite sides of my brain, and they don't seem to they don't seem to conflict with each other at all. But some people will have that problem that of a sort of fixed idea. Some might be at one end of one end of what we're talking about, listening to experts all the time. Say it might be at the other end, me disregarding them. Oh, they're rubbish. We know what we're talking about. I can quite happily sit in the middle and say, yeah, I can understand both points. So what is it that makes companies actually not be able to sort of enter into this world where there are paradoxes, but not actually be able to handle that fact?
I think that that comes down to two things, which I think are related to two things, which are possibly in some ways either ends of a continuum. I think there's a founder bottleneck. There's often a founder who will turn around and say, that's just not the way I like to do things. So there is an issue with somebody who is going to be the gatekeeper on all these brilliant ideas. There's often, if you get into a team, there's somebody there that's always going to be the person that goes, we tried that, doesn't work. It may be that it's a new time, new things have moved on. This is the ability to forget the past and be able to turn around and go, well, it's time to try it again. So there's often this sort of gatekeeper role. It's either somebody senior, somebody who thinks they're important, somebody who maybe is important, who actually sort of ends up being the protector of the way it's done. And then there's what I would call the talent leak. It's the highly creative ideas, the people that have got these highly created ideas, but unfortunately the inability to explain how that is going to actually turn into something which people can actually grasp and get their hands on and do. So it leaks out because people are unable to grasp the insignificance of it. In one, it's fully understood what's going to happen, but somebody's decided to block it. In the other one, you've got a brilliant idea, but somehow it wastes away, it leaks away because people don't understand it well enough. There's got to be a middle ground where they're able to explain it and somebody's prepared to actually back it.
Yeah. The other thing that just crossed my mind, because I'm with my chameleonomics hat on. I've been doing some.
Oh, are you talking through your hat again, Derek?
Yeah,
That's always a good time.
Indeed. But no, I've been thinking actually about the when because in a way all this is related to adaptability in different ways. But I tried to link it to small, medium, and large enterprises.
Yeah.
And it seems to me that adaptability is the key. When you go from small to medium to large, there is like a sort of adaptability crisis. But although the key cause is the underlying cause is adaptability, what it causes in day-to-day life is something very different. So the small company is rapidly growing and starts to get out of control. So their problems aren't necessarily ideas, unless they're ideas about management. But then eventually, hopefully you get it sorted and you turn into a medium-sized company, and then eventually something happens, the market changes, and that's a sort of a responsiveness sort of problem that they have, rather than a scaling problem. But at each stage you have a different problem, but the underlying cause is adaptability. But also you've still got these sort of paradoxes around. You've got to get your head around several different things at once. So I guess in a way, the conclusion I've actually drawn to myself whilst chatting live on air and talking possible gibberish is that those companies who just go and retain an expensive consultant or consultancy to help them out with their problems are probably doing just about the worst thing that they can.
Yeah. So, I mean, I think what you're describing is possibly for me, um, one of the greatest paradoxes of this of business creativity, isn't it? Which is the company that has the ability to actually work out what not to do with something. They have to make a deliberate decision to
Yeah.
not do something. So you have innovation hubs that are coming up with great ideas, and sifting those and deciding not to pursue one, or to decide that they are going to stop something else in order to pursue that, is actually the greatest ability to actually sort of control creative influences within a business. Now, the paradox here comes from most business owners or most business managers will turn around and say, I want as many ideas as possible. That's possibly true, except that it then becomes almost too much information to process. The clever bit comes when you turn around and go, that's not one to do now, because you could pursue every single one of the good ideas. Often they'll lead to this leak, as I say, because you're too much going on. What you've just described is you bring in consultants who will then sort of effectively, sift and give you lots of roadways and paths, because it looks like they're adding value by giving all those paths. But actually, what you really need is a consultant who's going to come in and stop ideas. Now, that's not something most consultancies want to do, because it doesn't look like you're adding value, but actually it could be the greatest value you could possibly add.
Yeah.
That's the kind of thing that I think you bring into this.
Yeah, I think also a lot of companies don't realize, for instance, they might say, oh, we're not very good at creating ideas, or our employees aren't very creative. But you sit them down. I mean, I actually deliberately tried this as a sort of calibration exercise with a company. I won't mention the name, but they basically made cardboard boxes.
Mm-hmm.
And we did this little exercise. I taught them some ideas for creating ways of creating ideas and filtering out ideas. But we did this little exercise with different classes of techniques to see how many ideas you could create in 15 minutes. Just 15 minutes, nothing more. And the most creative group of people came up with over 60 ideas in 15 minutes. Now, people aren't as focused as that during their working day, but it shows you that there's a phenomenal number of ideas that could be created. Now, the other thing that which has went along with that is there's a ratio of approximately 10-1. So for every 10 really crazy ideas, there's probably one idea that's worth thinking a bit more about. And for every 10 of those, there's probably one worth actually investigating. So the ratio is roughly of the order of 100-1.
Yes.
But even so, I mean, 65, if you could keep going for an hour, you could come up with one idea an hour. Now, people don't have that time to dedicate to things other than doing their normal job, but it just goes to show that there is potentially a huge problem.
Yeah, and I think the important thing about what you just illustrated, actually, Derek, is most businesses do that 15 minutes and then they go, okay, that's enough. Actually, what businesses need to do is to say, we're going to do 15 minutes every week.
Yeah.
And that way you're going to end up with 400 ideas.
Yeah.
At the end of the month.
You need to create a pipeline.
Yeah. Four of which then go into your pipeline.
Yeah.
If you just stop after that 15 minutes, you've ended up with a situation where that's it for the rest of the quarter.
Yeah.
That needs to be a continuous process, doesn't it? Every week we sit down and we do 15 minutes. Well, anybody can find 15 minutes in a week. I contest.
Yeah. Well, I mean, for those enlightened CEOs or managing directors out there, do it. I mean, I did it at the company I used to work at, and we did it for an hour during lunchtime. People were brought their lunch in, and we messed about in the conference room and came up with some very good ideas actually for naming products. But I mean, if you do that with a group of people and maybe just buy them a pizza, it will work wonders. Or if your employees are healthy and don't like pizza, get them something else.
Yeah. And I think this is down to habit. It's down to what I was talking about earlier, which is having your process for innovation, but it's all down to the also, if you haven't got a line strategy, if you haven't got operations where you can actually explicitly give permission for people to stop doing something to take on something new, you can never push these ideas from that start through to completion. It is about having the ability to turn around and say, how do we move this this good idea, as I say, into what I described before as idea execution, isn't it?
Yeah, and that's just touches on another one of Mr. Michalko's paradoxes: work hard but spend time doing nothing. And the
Hmm.
interesting thing there is work hard. We either expect ourselves to work hard because that's what gives us the money and that's what the boss tells us to do. But doing nothing actually requires permission.
Yes, it
There's
does.
like a paradox of power there as well.
Yeah,
You
there.
know, what do I believe? What am I actually allowed to do?
Yeah, absolutely, and it is difficult sometimes for people to remember. I've walked in on the CEO of a large business who I was doing something for. He had his feet on his desk. He was reading New Scientist, I think it was, or something like that. And I sort of made the joke, enjoying yourself. He said, "This is my idea generation time. Don't interrupt it." And I thought, okay, fine, fair enough. He has given himself permission to
Mm,
stop doing whatever important thing he thought he needed to do in order to think deeply about the future of the company. Props to him. He had the guts to turn around and tell me that, as far as he was concerned, this was more important than doing the work that I was
mm,
coming in to ask him to do. Now he did actually get back to me and turn around and say, "What is it you wanted?" But at that time, that was his idea generation time. He
yeah,
was not interested in discussing anything else. He was thinking. He was doing the idea generation.
yeah.
He
I
had to
mean,
give himself permission to stop doing something else in order to turn that into action.
it does work. At the company I used to work at, I was very lucky. We had a room in the corner of the building where we were, which the boss had said, "What we're going to use this for?" And some people said, "Oh, let's make it into a canteen." Eventually, there was the term loosely used breakout room. So I said, "Oh, please, me, can I put stuff in it? Can I sort of decorate it?" And the boss foolishly, effectively let me and his secretary take his credit card and buy a whole load of stuff. And we spent about 1,200 quid in the end. We got a sofa from Argos. We got one of those tubes with the lights in it with bubbles and little balls and things in it. We bought posters. We bought sort of Jenga type stuff, 3D jigsaw puzzles, and we filled this room up. And the only thing we said was, you aren't allowed phones in there. That was the only rule. Other than
Good
that,
one.
and it was really bizarre because it was right near the top of the stairs where the visitors came in. So first of all, the visitors thought it was cool, and people did go there just to think. The more intellectual of our employees used to go and read papers and things rather than be disturbed at their desk. Now
Interesting idea.
it had, yeah, it had uses far beyond what I envisaged, and everybody found it useful, and it was absolutely brilliant for a very, very small budget. So yeah, it depends what you want to do, but yeah, for
Give
people need
yourself permission, I
places, they
think, is
need
the
they
answer,
need
isn't it?
permission.
You have to have permission. Even if that's your own self permission, you have to give yourself permission. And that also means, if you want to generate ideas, you've either got to lock yourself away from the work you need to do, or sometimes, if you've got the time to do it, you lock yourself away from the family. Now, that can feel very selfish for the person that wants to spend time with their family, or indeed for the family, but it's an important part of your daily
Yeah,
routine.
yeah,
I try to get up a little early and try and do it before everybody disturbs me, but it's not always easy.
yeah. Oh, I have a distraction problem. I have
I'm
shiny
I'm
shiny
looking
toy syndrome. You show me
I'm
anything
looking
show,
I'm
you
looking
show,
forward to I'm looking forward to seeing it, let alone hearing about it.
yeah, I just love yeah. If I'm sitting on a computer, it's terrible. But yeah, yeah, a change of perspective is good, which is why the window here is sometimes quite useful.
Cover it up, Derek. Cover it up. You've got better things to do with your life.
Well,
You've got to focus on value.
yeah, but if you stare out the window, it can sort of sometimes reset your perspective because you're focusing on something in the distance rather than what's right in front of you. It just depends how your brain works. And
well, I think this is we come back to the next thing that I think we all need to be aware of when we're talking about this sort of thing, which is the infinite possibilities versus actual focused value, isn't it? You just can dream and dream and dream, but you do have to eventually focus on something which will take you forward. Dreams are great. I love them. I enjoy them. But taking one from the dream pile and sticking it into the I've achieved it part, even if, because I'm not the sort of person that easily completes things, even if part of that turning it into something else needs help from other people to do it. As anybody will know about the book, which I'm trying to write at the moment, which is still in its 15th draft and not yet even halfway.
Oh dear, I've also thought about writing another book, but I don't know. That could just be another shiny thing that starts.
It could well be, and it will end up being the wrong thing for you. But there you go.
But I'm too busy creating videos at the moment. It's too much fun. Look out for my videos on LinkedIn. But there we go.
Is that something on which we wish to finish? Because let's face it, nobody's going to top that, are they?
Oh well, they could do, but they might take quite a bit. So yes. So we'll need to think of a topic at some point for next month. But next month is the 18th of September.
18th of September. I shall put that in my diary now, because as you know, unless I do, I will not even bother to appear because I will have forgotten. But I will put that down, and that will be episode 26.
And we'll let you pick the topic for that.
Is it my job next month?
I think it's your job.
Decisions. I will give you some thought. I'll give a thought to that, and I'm sure it will be brilliant because let's face it, that's the way I am.
That's the way you roll.
It is.
Yeah.
And I'm going to have to just say, I've looked. We're going to have to make it the next week.
No, make it.
We're going to have to do the 25th or the 25th.
Let's make it the 25th of September.
There you go. Look, I've checked myself. I have got something going on the 20. So we're doing it on the 25th.
Indeed.
Thank you. You see, I will give you a brilliant synopsis of a discussion.
And we'll let our potential viewers know, maybe even earlier.
Yeah, why not?
Why not?
There, I've put it in my diary for you.
Okie dokie. Well, on
that note, 26.
On that note, we'll say goodbye to everybody and see you in just over 4 weeks' time.
Yeah, excellent. Thank you, Derek.
Right. Bye-bye.